Modern dance has its roots in rebellion, and so you'll always have people who are doing what they think they should be doing, irrespective of other kinds of constraints.
It's a pioneering movement. It's kind of a personification of what you might call the American spirit.
Modern dance is ever changing. It's always evolving. And the fascinating thing about modern dance, I often think that it's sort of like the movie The Blob, in a sense that there's this creature, this animal that's constantly absorbing new forms of movement.
A pioneer is somebody who's willing to stake everything on an idea, on a concept, on a change. Isadora Duncan was somebody who was willing to do things in a manner that nobody had seen before, nobody had done before.
What is, I think, remarkable and important about the contributions of the pioneers is that each of them were exploring an aspect of dance that was essential to them.
Dance is an art form, but specifically modern dance really speaks to an exploration of yourself.
Ballet was a big influence on modern dance.
When I tell people that I'm a modern dancer, many of them know about Martha Graham, and that's often the starting point where we can kind of connect on what modern dance is.
Modern dance is an expression of humanity itself.
Modern dance was kind of formulated along utopian ideals. The freedom of the spirit, self-expression, the greatness of America.
Dance may reflect what exists in society or may influence what's in society.
I think that choreography is, I like to make a parallel to literature in that you do your research, you find your topic, and then you have specific ways that you build sentences and you build paragraphs and you build chapters, and finally you have this rise and fall or climax and decrescendo of a story.
Doris Humphrey was the first person to codify her choreographic process. She wrote the first book explaining how to choreograph.
I think the second generation of modern dancers kind of continued in the footsteps of the first.
My first exposure to modern dance was going to see the Alvin Ailey Company.
Everyday movements that we have and that have meaning provide a baseline for dancers to create their dance. They take from the everyday.
The postmodernists threw everything out and questioned everything.
The Judson Church group, when we think about developments post-1950 in modern dance, they're like one of the first groups that come to mind.
After modern dance and with postmodernism, there has been a great deal of incorporation of different languages and different approaches.
Every form of dance shapes the dance that you see on stage.
The dancer today, I think, is articulated best by a dancer who can do it all.
Technically, probably dancers are more proficient today than ever. They push the body to greater limits.
Modern dance, in the sense of being like jazz, encompasses many, many, many different styles.
Bennington College was tremendously important in the development of the mainstream, what we're calling the mainstream modern dance, in that Bennington gave it a home.
Humans are multisensory, and when you can learn something involving all the senses, you're more likely to remember it.
I think for the form to survive, particularly economically, we're going to have to expand our connections with communities.
Modern dance today continues in its tradition of rebellion and moving in all kinds of different directions.
Galina, maestra y coreógrafa norteamericana, teórica de la composición coreográfica de la danza moderna, nació en Oak Park, Illinois, en 1895. Se formó en la escuela de Dennis Shawn.
Entra en 1951 en la Juilliard School en Nueva York y funda en 1955 el Juilliard Dance Theater.
Su más intensa colaboración fue con el coreógrafo Charles Whitman y con quien forma la compañía Danza Humphrey Whitman y luego una escuela en Nueva York.
Seguidamente también colabora con el bailarín y coreógrafo José Limón, siendo la directora artística de la compañía Limón en 1946 a 1957 y montando muchas obras de su repertorio.
Fue discípula de Ruth Sandenis y de Ted Shawn. Doris promueve la búsqueda y el estudio de la coreografía. Es autora del famoso libro El arte de crear danzas, en el cual da valiosísimos y preciados consejos a los jóvenes bailarines y estudiantes que deseen convertirse en coreógrafos.
Su concepción teórica más importante es su visión del movimiento, como un momento de pasaje entre dos puntos de equilibrio. Uno, la verticalidad del cuerpo en estado de inercia, y la horizontalidad del cuerpo en la tierra después de la caída.
Es la reacción del cuerpo a la pérdida de equilibrio que determina el verdadero movimiento. Mientras que la gravedad puede causar la caída, constituye la fuente de energía del cuerpo que la toma y la usa como impulso para trasladarse en el espacio. El movimiento es así una reacción vital ante la amenaza de la caída.
Este sistema de movimientos propone el binomio caída y recuperación como premisa de trabajo, la caída y la recuperación como metáforas de muerte, vida, resurrección, la lucha por la verticalidad, por la sobrevivencia, las fuerzas adversas simbolizadas por la fuerza de gravedad. Esta técnica es metáfora de vida, metáfora por lucha y disfrutar la vida.
So up to speed, your push spin will look like this. It goes 5, 6, 7, 8. Step back, step in and flatten. Speed your ladies. Catch, return and offer.
Then the third group of this community is the audience. They take the ticket, they reserve, they pay the ticket without knowing what they will see. You know? That's why they come and see my performance.
Okay. Yeah. Because they don't know.
Yes.
What happened inside.
Exactly. This is people who are interested in contemporary arts. If you want to see what you pay for, you go to National Theatre.
Yeah.
And you see Shakespeare, and you see
the ballet,
Swan Lake. It's always the same.
Yeah,
it didn't change.
You know everything.
Yeah, you know everything. It ends very badly at the end. So there is no change. But for contemporary arts, it's a bet. You don't know.
Je m'appelle Véronique Doineau. Je suis mariée et j'ai 2 enfants de 6 et 12 ans. J'ai 42 ans et je suis à la retraite dans 8 jours.
And if to observe something means to take different points of view while the object stands still, then I can never observe my own body because it keeps following all my movements instead of answering to them with a free display of perspectives.
Move in such a way that it gives you back anger or grief, so that you have your roots. Very far and fundamental.
A refusal of classical and modern technique, which would be ballet and Graham.
Ballet and Graham. So, from here, you're looking back at your own leg, and the hand on the forehead, it just drops, and then this whole configuration drops down to the ground, so the crown of the head touches the floor. You boost yourself up, take one step, plie, and lunge, and the hands are clasped in front. The left hand escapes, swings around, and the right hand points to the corner, and all of your weight is on this left hip.
The dancers move on this stage and interact with an array of pretty amazing digital graphics. The trouble with the production is it only thinks it's saying something profound. I remain unconvinced. It ends with a laser light show that seems dated and irrelevant and like a 1970s rock concert.
In the late 1920s, dance could be found in the Broadway musical, vaudeville skits, minstrel shows, and ballroom exhibitions.
You must never give way, ever.
It was in the middle 40s, and John had come to New York. I was already there, and we decided to give a program together, and for which I would make the dances and John would write the music. And John had already talked about the idea of having a music which was not dependent upon the dance, nor the dance dependent upon the music, but which were separate identities which could, in a sense, coexist. And we worked at that time within something which he called a rhythmic structure. That is, we thought the common denominator between the two arts was time. And he had devised a form called rhythmic, which he called rhythmic structure, actually, within which we worked, where we agreed upon certain structure points, but within those structure points, the time within the structure points, we were free to do as the dance went and as the music might go. And that was more or less the first time that we began to work together. And then we've continued. And now the structure points, in a way, have disappeared. Or it's a little bit like, instead of going from Minneapolis to St. Paul, you go from Minneapolis to the moon. And